أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربنا زدنا علما آمين يا رب العالمين. Welcome to lesson number 54 of our study of Balaghah. Today inshallah we are going to continue with Bayan. And in Ilm Bayan, we started with a tashbih. So let's continue with a tashbih. We learned in the previous session that a tashbih can be a tashbih al-mufrad and tashbih can be a tashbih al-murakkab. We have been learning about a tashbih al-mufrad when a single entity has been compared with another single entity. Now here, when we talk about a tashbih al-murakkab, we learned that again, a tashbih has two types. التشبيه الضمني and التشبيه التمثيلي. We started with التشبيه التمثيلي. We learn about التشبيه المفرد or fardi when there was one entity is being compared with another. We also did these examples for التشبيه الفردي. Then for التشبيه التمثيلي, we did a very beautiful example from Surah Yunus, ayah number 24, in which the worldly life has been compared with all the tree that gives fruit, and then suddenly it is destroyed. When this rain falls and causing it to sprout vegetation, and again suddenly it is like there is an end to it. So this was worldly life is just compared with that when here suddenly when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can, like we can say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can destroy the crops overnight. The worldly life can also end suddenly. So this was a very beautiful tashbih tamsili when there was all a picture drawn, a scene, this whole scene was described, making it a representational simile. So now let's continue with another very beautiful example from Surah Baqarah, ayah number 261. So let's see here. مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت سبع سنابل في كل سنبلة مئة حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم. The likeness of those who spend their wealth in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is as a likeness of a grain of corn. It grows 7 years, and 7 year has 100 grains. Allah gives manifold, here increases to whom He pleases, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all sufficient for His creatures and needs, and all He's all knower. So this is from Surah Baqarah, and number 261. And I wanted to do each and every example separately because this whole picture, they all need our attention. They want us, these ayat want us to ponder upon what each and every word, what each and every ayah tells us, and in which in all these ayat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us warning. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us lesson. He is telling something important to us. He is telling us that how we should be spending our lives and how we should be seeing each and everything that surrounds us. So this verse from Surah Al-Baqarah 261 contains again a simile comparing the reward of those who spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to a grain of corn that multiplies abundantly. So just let's break it down according to the components of the simile. Like first of all, the components of the simile, like we see here the mushabba, the object of that those who spend their way in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we have the mushabba bihi, the object of the comparison, that is a grain that grows into 7 years, and each year contains 100 grains. Then we have the Wajhu Shaba, and here, the attribute we can say, just as a single grain produces an abundant harvest, a single act of charity results in multiplied rewards from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Like here, يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ. We have this adatu tashbih, and that is kamasali. and muscle both are present here. Like we can say there is double emphasis and there is emphasis upon emphasis. Like ka is also present, and like it explicitly introduces the comparison. Also, muscle is also here, both meaning the same, but it provides us double emphasis. Like Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is giving us such a vivid picture for this for those who ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله. So the word here كمثل is like it is for the comparison. So here مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله. So they are like حبة أنبتت سنابل في كل سنبلة مئة حبة. Allah compares the charity given in His cause to a seed that grows into a bountiful harvest. This this is just illustrating how even a small act of giving is not wasted. Rather, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala multiplies its reward many times over and over again, just as a single grain, just like a single grain, can produce 7 years each with 100 grains. حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة 100 حبة. So each one is producing 100 grains. A small act of charity can yield immense blessings in both this world and the hereafter. So this type of simile is called tashbih tamsili. Like we can say this is analogical, like this is such a pictorial, this is such a vivid simile because it represents a vivid picture to help us understand how charity leads to great returns from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is such a beautiful ayah, and it needs uh, our, our attention, it needs tadabbur, and like and this in this beautiful month of Ramadan, the more we are going to spend, the more the rewards we will be given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is such a beautiful example. And like each and every word that we learn, each and every ayah that we see has a lesson behind it. Like no ayat, like we are reciting the Quran, and no ayah in the Quran is like we can just keep on reciting, like just continue reciting. Each and every ayah um, needs our needs our attention, needs tadabbur. So this is such a beautiful ayah in this such a beautiful month of Ramadan. So this is there is so much to learn from this ayah. مثل الذين ينفقون أموالهم في سبيل الله كمثل حبة أنبتت 7 سنابل في كل سنبلة مئة حبة. مئة حبة والله يضاعف لمن يشاء والله واسع عليم. And Allah is all sufficient for His creatures' needs. He's all knower. So this is Tashbih at-Tamsili, in which there is a vivid picture to help us ponder, to help us understand how charity leads us to great returns. So inshallah, I'll see you with another example from a Tashbih at-Tamsili. Barakallahu li wa lakum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.